And here they are. They go off right now, in fact.
Fantastic. Looks to be a clean start from all crews in this men's Division 6 of Summer Torpids 2021. An action-packed start across the board, and it looks to be a blinding start, I should say, from that third crew, that is St. Bennett's. Look to be closing in. They're going for the jump them on the start approach on Magdalen
strategy.
Magdalen ahead of them. Yes, they're pulling away from St Hugh's, going behind them, and it looks to be trouble already for Magdalen's second day, Adam.
It does, and they're being... Oh, we've just changed shot. Yes, so here we see at the top of the division... St. Bennett's, did they get that concession? They had overlap, but I don't think they conceded. Bennett's have stopped rowing.
So there seems to be some sort of confusion in the boat at the moment, or is that them just getting over to the side?
Exactly. So they got the concession. I think they kind of might have panicked and just stopped, and then realized they needed to clear the line. And here we have, let's see who that is. That's Pembroke being chasing Lincoln. So Pembroke is the boat furthest away with us with the white spoons. They've stopped rowing, so they must have bumped Lincoln 3 ahead of them. At the back of the screen, we see other boats that had stopped as well, must have bumped out. So now on screen, we have Teddy Hall that are chasing St. Hugh's ahead of them. There's a little bit of a gap there going through the gut, though. Coming in screen, we have Hertford. Again, there's, what would you say, maybe 2 boat lengths between them and Teddy Hall ahead.
Yeah, it looks to be a tough margin, I reckon. But as you said, we probably got another 1,500 meters or so down the course, and they're being chased hard by the crew just coming up behind them. So I think that's going to be a great tussle as the rest of the race unfolds.
And this will be an interesting moment as well for the Hertford crew in their focus of the rowers, because there'll be some of those rowers who can't help themselves but glance at Lincoln and be tracking the distance with Lincoln. And as soon as rowers start doing that, then it's you're at risk of catching a crab or getting out of time. So you really need to be just focused on your rowing, looking at the head of the rower in front of you, and just trying to lay down the power and trust your cocks. Here we have the exit of the gut, so outside Longbridges, and so it's still Wolfson being chased down by Magdalen. That gap is about a quarter of a boat length now. And as I say, Greenbanks is an interesting section because as they come out of the gut, they'll try and do a push and try and run away from any boats that are behind them, because it's hard to do that kind of in the gut because it's so twisty. But it looks like Magdalen is holding on to them, in fact, maybe even closing that gap with them right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an epic tussle down the course between Magdalen and Wolfson's third eight. Magdalen's second eight, of course, as we've mentioned, chasing down their third eight. So that will be, an epic rivalry that we'll be looking to track as we get further and further down the course. But this looks to be St. Hugh's chugging along nicely in the middle of the race. But what have we got going on here, Adam?
So it looks like we're back down at the start of the course. And I think these are boats that have bumped out. So they've managed to catch up with the boat in front of them. They've stopped, and now because the launch following the last boat of the division has passed them, then they can just start rowing at a gentle pace back to their boathouses.
Back to their boathouses, reset the game plan and try and go again tomorrow.
Exactly. Apart from the boat that's at the top of the division that
it's got to go again in about an hour's time or so. Yes.
It looks like Magdalen has stopped rowing, so they've bumped Wolfson College ahead of them. So Wolfson now will be rowing up to the head, but having already lost one position. And as I said, Magdalen we can see just clearing the racing line there, back onto Greenbank side. And behind that is that Lincoln M3? I think it must be.
I think it looks to be,
little blue stripe. Yeah. And it looks like they've got a kind of a safe-ish gap for the moment, but it'll be interesting to see if the boat behind has a little push. They will, so at this point, they've just crossed the river from Greenbank. We'll be passing Univ Boathouse there. If we continue to pan with this St. Hugh's boat, we'll see Univ Boathouse in a second. Yeah, here it is coming up. So there in the background, we've got St. Peter's Cruise standing around and Univ. And so on this stretch now is the home straight. So if a boat is going to try and do a strategy to catch up with the boat ahead, it will be now, and it's the classic Cox's call of kitchen sink out the window, or give it the wellies, or any of those kinds of outrageous calls, just to motivate those 8 rowers for that last little push.
Yeah, time's running out for those crews who want to try and catch their opponents out in front of them. They look pretty safe. I'd say St Hugh's looking pretty safe ahead in this men's Division 6. It doesn't look like they're going to be caught. We've got just a couple of 100 meters or so left. We've got one of the guys in that boat. It looks like they've come off their seat. They've had an absolute disaster, but managed to re-get. Oh, I should say, it looks like they just managed to get back in time with the rest of the crew. Just a couple of 100 meters to hang on, lads, and you'll be home safe and sound.
It looked like their seat had actually come out, because even when the rower started rowing again, they weren't moving their legs. So I think the issue was the seat came off completely from the rails, or got jammed in the rails. So that's going to be a difficult last little row. But as you said, they were kind of safe. Looks like Lincoln has stopped before the end of the course, so must have gotten a little bit too close to those canal boats, and obviously didn't want to crash into the canal boat, so came to a standstill. We've got 3 seat waving at some spectator, well, not a spectator, probably a coach or something on Botas Island. And there they go, pushing back off. So that was Lincoln, as I said, and they'll be going off to finish the course, and they've probably got 10 strokes to go, if even. And so here, no, these boats now, they're out of the race, so they've done their bumping. This is Corpus Christi, I believe, with their darker colored blades and little red stripes. Yep, exactly, that's Corpus Christi.
Great start to Division 6 for Corpus Christi, getting up, bumping Pembroke's third 8, and as such, yeah, as we said, just paddling back down, just completing the course, rowing over in men's Division 6. So the next race that we will be bringing you will be Women's Division 6. We've got a little bit of gap. We've got about 25 minutes or so between now and the start of Women's Division 6. That will be led off by Corpus Christi, as we've already alluded to, and more racing coming as the afternoon goes on.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, it looks like Magdalen M2 ended up being at the top of that men's Division 6. So that means they'll be rowing again in the men's Division 5 at 2:10. So they've got barely enough time to have a quick land at their boat club raft, maybe quickly jump out, stretch their legs a little bit, but that's all they'll have time for. Maybe a little bit of a sip of water, but they don't have time to get the boat out or anything like that. They'll be just waiting for the women's division to have their race and pass them, and then they'll be out again. So they'll need a quick recoup strategy. Yeah, we see there's quite a few boats that are following the finish line, the finish launch. So I think there's quite a bit of bumping that's happened. So once we get a chart up, we'll have a look at that. But from the screen, that looks like St. Bennett's at the back. That's bumped. In front of them, that's White Blades. Blue stripe on the edge. Not too sure who they are. And well, we'll see in a second when we get a chart up to keep you updated on all the movements within that division. But that was a very exciting division with lots of bumping happening.